more than one time that every road that had sewer and water replaced on it was going to be paved. Now I'm told that that money is no longer there. We've already made some major investments that are not playing out quite like I understood that they would.
Well, that was the Texas Water Development Board. It had nothing to do with us at the city. The Texas Water Development Board never said that they would do all the streets. Somebody stood up and said that the streets would be done. The engineer. Never did the Water Development Board do that. And when we went back to them to ask them had they changed their mind, they said no. That will not fund streets. It will fund the utilities underneath it. And they will patch what they took out.
Yes.
So then we were instructed to try to find ways to get these streets done. And that's what we are doing as staff. Trying our best to get those. But some of those streets you're talking about, you've got to be concerned about Atmos and the other utilities. They have to be done too. So, you know, picking out all these streets is fine. The ones we picked out right now, we know we can do. They're shovel ready and ready to go. And if the bond goes through, we are going to be funded. Now, being 33 on the list, will that take a year? Will it take it 2 for them to get to us? I don't know. In the meantime, we were going to look into the other streets to see about what we can do. Whether we can do them through Tarrant County or whether we'll have to go out for bids, which will make a big difference in the money. Now, originally, when I put the bond together, it included the building improvements here at the City Hall. We got a library sitting over there that it's not a library no more. It's just an open room.
But it's an expensive structure
that
I personally have looked at.
But $1.9 million of this bond, that's what that was dedicated to. We turned around and said, well, can we use it all just for the streets? And the answer is yeah, because the streets are on there.
Yeah, I understand. I'm saying that we also have to spend money on that roof over there. Roofs are something that people don't, and I have no dog in that hunt because I would not be doing that project whatsoever because of social media in this city, I will say.
And I did set that money out of the Rescue Act.
Yes.
To do the roofs.
But that is something that we've got to look at hard, and we have discussed that, but that is another thing that it's easy to look at dirty carpet and not see the roof up there, but...
That thing's been kicked down the street so many times, so many years, it's time to do it.
Because you don't see it, and there's going to be damage happening to that structure that's going to cost us more money down the road, but that's what I'm saying, these are just all snowballing on us, and I don't know the answer, but we've got to look at all of them and figure out a plan.
Gordon, is there anything in this fire deal we could pull out and at least get it closer to 250? So that we're matching 250 instead of 312?
Gordon's not going to know that.
I'm not going to qualify to that because one is chief and the architect did it together. Okay. I just took a quick look at it, and I can actually tell you that what chief is talking about, there is a problem when you start moving the wall that he's talking about.
I understand that.
I will back him up on that, but as far as to say, can you cut part of it off or there, that's more the architect and the chief than me at this time, because I haven't, all I did was started the game, give him all the information. As he stated now, he's been reading it, and he's just got all of it together there. And you do have in your packet a breakdown showing the step and what the architect, and I believe I have the full set of plans still in my office.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And we got something, a shop drawing or something we can look at to see what they propose to do?
There's a detailed list by area of the living quarters of what's being proposed.
I'm a visual person, I need a picture.
And the other thing to keep in mind is this pricing was done like 6 to 8 months ago, and we've been that long from probably being ready to actually do anything, and pricing for commercial construction is not going down. Projects that I've seen fire station-wise that have started since the station we started in Richland Hills have gone up $35, $40 a square foot just over the last 15 months.
Chief Shelley, my understanding from the coordinator that if we are awarded, this thing could actually go out for bid in January. That's how fast the money's moving on the CDBG. But it would require some more work from your architect as far as putting the more detailed specifications together. I believe the sheets that he has as far as, the plan sheets are okay, but we need a spec book to go with it.
We literally have a basic floor plan design and a very broad, not detailed scope of work. We would have to put together a construction document packet and a full specification book, just as Gordon was describing. And that kind of stuff is gonna take, it's gonna take at least a couple of months at the minimum to pull those things together. And, I personally think we'll probably already be at the point where we'll have to be cutting things just to hit the 565 number, just because construction is so expensive in this crazy, economy we're working in right now.
Well, what is it you would cut?
Well, if you go beyond the structural items, the only two really not part of remodel for living purposes that are in there is to replace the heaters in the bays and to add an exhaust removal system that is a direct capture system that hooks to the exhaust of the fire engines. You could cut those two things and probably save in the neighborhood of about $40,000. But pretty much everything else that's in that, quote, so to speak, very loose use of that term,
That's what I was looking at.
is really anything beyond that, and you're into the expansion of the living day room, the addition of the bathroom, and the addition of some office space or room for the guys to do their reports. The guys are sitting on their beds using their personal laptops to do their reports about half the time right now, because we only have one computer in the officers' quarters that can be used for that. If there's other things going on, they help out with those things. So there's an office in there to add 2 computers so that they can do those things, they can do training, etc. It's replacing a couple of bedrooms so that everybody is in the same living quarters and they're not having to cut through the truck bays, come to the bathroom, the kitchen. And,
There's some soundproofing you wanted also to,
I'm sorry?
some soundproofing that you went over with me on?
Yes, that's correct. So, keeping in mind, the guys have to be able to hopefully grab a few hours of sleep at night, and the wall between the police station and fire station is not well insulated, and they did include some soundproofing for that wall just to cut down on the noise from nighttime operations at the evening. They have been very gracious to keep that noise down as much as they can, but at the end of the day, obviously they have a job to do as well. But there's not a lot of fat on the bones, so to speak. It's a pretty direct project, mostly centered around improving the living conditions.
And a big portion of that is that sewer line and water line over there that needs to be upgraded anyway. Remember?
That's correct. Based on what we were told earlier on, when we first brought the fourth man on, was that it was going to be concerning whether that sewer could handle another toilet or another shower or sink, just because of the size of the line and the age of the line.
And the line is extremely old, so we need to think about doing something with that line regardless of what happens here.
The age of the building, right?
Can you not split that out of this project and make that a regular COVID project, so you're not having the double funding? It sounds like it's not necessarily directly related to the fire department.
Yeah, we can take it out of the rescue act with that if we don't deal with CDBG.
The other thing, Councilman Hall, and the other thing to consider on that sewer line is that runs right